Hello. Welcome to the last panel before lunch. Even though the title might be confusing, we will not be providing any tokens price, unfortunately, but the instrument to face the 2024. What I would like to say is our panelists are open to questions during the panel, so feel free to raise the hand. And please introduce yourself and your company.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thanks for being here. My name is Mark Nuvelstein. I'm the co-founder of Bitfavo. Bitfavo is a regulated European exchange. We are market leader in Western Europe. We are keen to tell more about our business and the trends we see in our industry.
So at iSought, we power the new era of asset management. I'm Stefan Klauser, co-founder and CEO. What we do is to give access to machine learning, AI, and quant optimization tools and data for the asset management industry, also providing that for crypto, among other asset classes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gloria Hernandez. I'm a co-founder and a partner of FinRec, which is a law firm and consultancy firm focused on financial regulation. We advise banks, insurance companies, brokerage, asset managers, and now crypto providers getting licensed and adapting to a new regulation. And I see that 2024 is going to be the year because many people came into the room.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm Ko Onizawa. I'm the co-CEO of Bit2Me. We're the crypto firm market leader here in Spain in both the primary markets and secondary markets. Thank you.
Thank you. The first question goes to you, Mark. Considering the current state of the crypto industry, what trends and indicators suggest the most promising opportunities in 2024?
Yeah, sure. So I think both 2022 and 2023 were quite bumpy years for the crypto space. I think in 2022, a lot of trust was harmed in the crypto space. 2023, in our view, the trust was step by step regained. I think for 2024, we expect two major things. I think for retail investors, both in the US, or mainly in the US and also in Europe, we expect that ETFs are becoming big in the US. We also expect that ETFs, basket trackers, and all the kind of things will become big here in Europe. The second trend we expect is not on the individual part, but on the institutional part. So in our view, the market will become regulated more and more, which will also pave the way for institutions. With our company, we are heavily focused on B2C customers. I know that Ko is way more focused on B2B. I think he can give even more background there.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, continuing on what Mark was saying, more regulation in Europe means it's paving the way for institutions to come into the game. So 2 years ago, for example, where the banks would probably have Bitcoin on their balance sheet, now there's conversation on traditional financial entities and institutions offering crypto to the retail users. So the B2B or B2B2C is going to be more and more exciting for the next year. And that's thanks to clear regulation, or at least clearer regulation.
How do you think stakeholders should prepare for this?
Sorry?
How do you think stakeholders should prepare for this?
Stakeholders. I think it goes back to when you look at an asset or a digital asset, I think it goes back to informing ourselves and educating ourselves more on what this is all about, right? There's the underlying technology of blockchain, and there's also the actual digital assets that we're speculating on investing in and supporting. So education's a big piece of this, and it's not as it's getting more and more sophisticated, and so we have to catch up with both the advances in the space and the regulation that comes with it.
Yeah, and well, also I think it's key conversations between supervisors, regulators, and the private sector. For example, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, ESMA sent a notification to market participants, crypto exchange, and also to supervisors across Europe, just saying, hey, get together and start adapting and planning for MiCA. Because it's true that MiCA for as virtual asset service providers will enter into force in December 2024. And this is like 1 year ahead, but you should start right now. So you need to plan, you need to do your gap analysis, and you need to talk to the regulators and supervisors. So in my view, this dialogue is key, and it should start right now.
We've been talking a lot about regulators. Gloria, indeed, for you I have a question. Given the past regulatory challenges, how can we anticipate the regulatory shift in 2024, and how should exchanges and investors position themselves?
Well, I think that 2024 is a key year in terms of regulation because there's a lot of things going on. In digital assets, I think you have two key regulations. First one is MiCA, which was approved and finally published this summer. And the second one is the pilot regime for financial instruments, because you know that digital assets that are not financial instruments, usually they fall in MiCA, except NTFs, that we will see what happened with them because they are outside of MiCA, but also they are the European Commission is thinking about issuing a specific regulation for these digital assets. So, but in 2024, what is going to happen? First, that all the part of MiCA regarding issuance of e-money tokens and asset reference tokens, stable coins, will come into force in summer. And for example, this is key for the pilot regime and for the securities part, because in previous panels they were talking, okay, there's a lot of things on tokenized securities, but we need the cash part as well. So these e-money tokens and stable coins will enable transactions in the pilot regime. And then, as I already mentioned, at the end of the year is where crypto service providers may start applying to get a European Union level license, because the license that we have today in Europe are local license. I mean, if you're licensed in Germany or in France, that's fine for France and Germany, but you cannot branch or passport this license. So the key date for crypto service providers is December, where in theory, a supervisor will open, like the window to start submitting the applications for the MiCA license. But for this, you need previously to think what are the services you're going to provide, because it's not that straightforward. For example, just buying and selling Bitcoin, you can do it having an exchange, which is a sort of service, or you can do it by your own account, or you can go to liquidity providers. So you need to prepare before submitting this application.
Passing more on the technological side, Stefan, are there any upcoming technological advancements that exchanges and investors should be closely monitoring?
Yeah, I think what we currently see is the perfect storm of many things coming together for the crypto market. So while regulation kicks in, we see a lot of new players entering the market. But there is different levels of sophistication of services that you provide. Most players might at the beginning just offer buying and selling of different crypto assets, but there is also an asset management industry that really needs a new level of sophistication in the crypto space, because many people that are holding and trading, especially the ones that are trading crypto, they lose money. Let's face it, and that's not good, right? People want to see their investments thrive. And for that, we need a new level of sophistication, and now we have the technology to do that. So with having now big cloud providers that give you access to computing power and to data and to save your data, and at the same time we have the machine learning, the AI tools and the quant tools to calculate risks, to forecast titles, risks, etc., and to put that in a portfolio context, so that you can take some of the volatility out of your investments, and you can make sure that you always kind of at the speed of the market with what's happening out there. And I think that's going to help greatly to also get more acceptance for this market, because many are still holding back, saying, oh, this is super gambling, volatile, whatever, saying I don't want to do this. But it's more about making this market more sophisticated, and their technology plays a big role.
Anyone else want to jump in?
Yeah, I fully recognize that. I think the crypto space is still in the early stage. From both a service perspective but also a regulation perspective, so I can recognize what both my co-panel are saying. I think from a trading space, most searchers are still focused on buying, selling, or trading assets. I think over time that will become more sophisticated. First with ETFs, baskets, trackers, and other things which are coming up, which is more passive investing. I think over time, as Stefan just mentioned, you might see even more active strategies where people are using underlying technology to become active traders. I think that's on the trading side. I think on the regulatory side, the crypto space was unregulated back in 2018, 2019. It step by step became regulated in a light version in 2020. And I think in the coming 1-2 years under MiCA, it will become heavily regulated. I think as an exchange, that means that we as a company need to heavily invest in that to meet the new requirements. We see it as a good thing. We think that it helps to mature the business and also helps to adopt this industry and bring the industry further. And as Gloria just mentioned, it also gives advantages that you can easier do cross-border services and that you have the possibilities to offer potential other services like real-world assets and other kind of things. And I think that's step by step where the market will go to. So we see it as a development of the sector, which takes time.
Yeah, and institutional adoption. I think this is key. I liked a lot in the previous panel, Coti from Santander mentioned that we have to change the engine of the plane flying, and I don't remember how many feet, but it's true. Institutionals, they still have their legacy, so they are trying this new technology, but the plane keeps on flying, and so for me, institutional adoption is key. This both in the securities part, and institutionals are very much into it. For example, in FinRec, we're working in several applications for the pilot regime, and we see institutional players in the securities part, betting and like being in the front positions, and on the crypto part. For me, in the case of Spain, it's gonna be key when who is gonna be the first bank that is gonna be offering crypto to clients, because we do have experience, but in Switzerland with the two largest Spanish banks, but not in Spain. So for me, this will make, and also we will have like alliance with, native providers offering this B2B2C. So for me, this will be a key moment. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you've said and implied everything. We're gonna at least Bit2Me is gonna have a play an important role here, both on tokenized securities, as you know very well, we're in the pilot regime for this, and then also of course as a crypto service provider and for utility tokens, right? So it's very important to also separate tokenizing in the primary markets when you're tokenizing an asset and why you're doing so, and the complications and benefits that having having all of those assets on a secondary market. So it's going to be very, very interesting because it automatically because of crypto, all of this becomes a global thing. It's not just a Spanish thing anymore, right? So you can tokenize if you're able to invest in an emerging market, for example, through a tokenized security over there. It's a win-win for both sides, right? Because an emerging market company with the tokenized security can get access to more sophisticated capital markets like the EU, and then vice versa. We can participate in the growth in these companies across our borders, and that's thanks to the technology of crypto, blended with EU regulation and local regulation and elsewhere. So, because of crypto, because of crypto, the rules and the game becomes much more global and much more excited and abundant for a lot of stakeholders. So I think it's a space to really watch, aside from just speculating on the price of utility tokens.
Staying with you, Ko, how are innovation like DeFi, NFT, Layer 2 shaping the opportunities in the crypto space?
I think it's shaping it in a way where the innovation is becoming much more faster. So I had this conversation with Mark this morning, for example, where Layer 2s now allow more building and faster transactions compared to, say, 3 years ago, where the Ethereum was kind of a stopper or a blocker for these types of innovations. And then on the security side, for example, the regulators have been very clear that Bitcoin is not a security. So more and more we're seeing tokenized securities on the Bitcoin blockchain or the layer 2 of the Bitcoin blockchain, because it's very clear that tokenizing a security on the Bitcoin blockchain is completely regulatorily safe, so institution can pour money in there. But it's also, if you look at what's happening there, it's almost like you can imagine what it will be like when, say, EVM or these other layer 2s or layer 1s apart from Bitcoin are deemed not a security. So DeFi allows efficient cross-border and transfer of value very easily and efficiently. Layer 2s allow speed, and if you mix that with a blend of regulations from the different regions, then it's going to propel innovation unlike we've never seen before, I think.
Yeah, well, in terms of regulation, DeFi is not regulated in MiCA. Well, some DeFi players might be regulated if there's someone that you find responsible. That in many cases, many companies that they're advertised, many networks that advertise themselves as being completely decentralized. They're not that decentralized. There's someone that is earning money because of what's going on in this platform. So this kind of DeFi will fall into MiCA, and the rest, they are studying how to regulate it, which is not very, very easy. The same with NFTs. The NFTs are booming. There's so many case uses with NFTs. And here we have to be careful, because in the United States, there's been some rulings that NFTs that have become securities. The SEC has considered them securities. And also this line between securities and other crypto assets, in theory, is clear, but not always, because many times when the case you stress it a little, you may fall into the securities area. So, the problem is innovation, it goes so fast. This technology enables you to do so many things that, you always have to look at the limits, because you can start with an ETF and end with a security.
In that context, I also find it very interesting to see what's going to happen in the decentralized exchange space, because today we usually have very clear rules on what can be done and how it can be done, and even in the financial instrument space, right? There is some differences between the countries. In Switzerland, we have this actively managed certificate, which gives us a little bit of freedom to try out new things, but that doesn't exist in many other countries. And then you're going to have decentralized exchange. And there you could, in principle, offer any other kind of innovative financial instrument or tool. And how is this going to play out, right? And what's going to be there, and who is going to use it, and why? And I think there we're also going to see some movement coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, or fully agree. I think that DeFi platforms can be the most efficient platforms. It's still not user-friendly and still not regulated, but from a tech perspective, it will be most efficient. And given that, it will definitely have a huge use case in the future. So we need to see how that will develop. Secondly, on layer 2, I think layer 2 brought a lot of advantages. As Ko just mentioned, it at least ensured that the Ethereum blockchain became way more usable. It became way more advanced. And I think all those trends are underlying growing and will ensure that the space becomes bigger over time.
Which areas within crypto are witnessing the most significant inflows, and what implication does this have for the future of the industry? Who wants to go with this?
Are you mainly referring to where investors are investing in, or mainly retail customers?
The V2 customers.
I think what we see in general is that a lot of retail customers are heavily investing in spot instruments. So we see that retail customers are in general investing in spot instruments and in real bitcoins. We also expect that it will keep going. Why? Because it's the most convenient way to access the crypto market. I think on the other side, we see that institutional players are more and more interested in options perpetuals and more sophisticated instruments. So we see a clear split between retail investors and institutional investors.
But to be honest, that also sometimes just due to regulation again, right? Because there are different instruments available. What we see, for example, that there is a big interest of retail investors in our products, which are portfolios of crypto coins and tokens that are optimized with machine learning and quant tools. And we often have problems offering that to retail customers because with this AMC instrument that I just mentioned, we can only offer it to professional or qualified investors. And then what we need to do next level is an ETP or a fund that we can optimize with our tools. And there the hurdles are a bit higher to set this up, but it's not that people would not be interested in that. It's more like, okay, they don't have access, right? And this is also something where we're convinced we see a lot of movements coming up because we also offer through our platform that we can actually launch investment products for our customers. And there we see a lot of them asking for ETPs now and saying, I want to offer this retail, can you make this happen?
Well, in terms of regulation, again, well, in FinReg we don't work with retail clients directly, so I don't have, the sense of the market. But the sense of the market that we have is companies. They ask us, okay, how should I provide this service for retail clients? And we see there's a lot of questions on spot, how to get this, for example, this MiCA license, but also on derivative. Most of our clients that they are exchanges offering Bitcoin, Ethereum, and spot crypto, they are also interested in knowing what they need to do to offer derivative futures and so on. Also, we've seen interest in asset managers in offering to retail clients investment funds with an underlying with exposure to crypto. So I think that it's very broad, the interest of retail clients. And what it is really very interesting is that, for example, in one, what is very interesting in regulatory terms is that MiCA has not a definition of retail clients, which for me it's amazing, because in theory it's a regulation to protect clients. And I always say that MiCA is very similar to MiFID. It's like the MiFID of crypto assets. MiFID is all about how to protect a retail investor, and for me it's amazing that MiCA has not a definition of what it is a retail investor. But with this protection in mind, it's gonna be key. Transparency of firms providing crypto services. Well,
No, I think they summed up everything. Yeah, I fully agree. Retail, there's inflow. Institutional, there's inflow. Direct or indirect. It's there's definitely high interest.
Which regions or countries are emerging as hotspots for crypto growth, and why? Maybe Stefan, we were discussing that before.
I'm obviously biased, but I think Switzerland is a good place to be if you're in crypto. There is some regulatory stability around the topic, even though there is also new things coming up, obviously, and we're in the middle of Europe, so we're also affected by anything that the EU does, obviously. But still, we also even have access to the regulator directly. They're inviting us to have an exchange on the business models that we have to see how can they really regulate the market in a way so that they're not killing new and young businesses in that space, and that's really important for us, right? We're doing not just crypto, we're doing this also in other markets, and we're doing AI, which is another topic that is potentially being more regulated going forward. So this is super key for us. At the same time, we have access to the ETH Zurich, which we're also a spin-off from, and there's just an amazing amount of talent out there that we can work with.
yeah, I think in Switzerland you did very well, and actually there's a lot of Spanish players, whether doing experiments there or working with IT providers based there. Spain is also a great jurisdiction, not only because of the sun, which is true, everyone can see it now in Barcelona, but also because we have an instrument, very interesting instrument that you can use cross-border. That is that we have a regulatory sandbox. This means that you can test in an environmental, a place, for example, crypto solutions, even before MiCA comes into place, and this testing then can continue, even when you exit the sandbox and you start, providing services with the new MiCA license next year. And this instrument, for me, makes Spain a very attractive jurisdiction, especially because you can use it cross-border. So also think about Spain.
I'll just, depends. So the question was where are the hotspots of crypto in the world, right? So it depends who or what you're referring to. So if you're into gaming, then probably Asia would be a hotspot. Web3 gaming is huge there. There's both access to talent, developers, and actual gamers. If you're thinking of building something in the financial area and using crypto, then I think Europe is great. EU, Spain is amazing for that also because it's very, we have MiCA, but then we also have our own local sandbox. If you're building something else that's using blockchain rails, but it's not necessarily crypto native, I think other areas like Switzerland or Dubai is great also. So it really depends on the area. And if you're in Latin America, of course, then the movement of money and stable coins are a safe haven to the volatility that's happening with the fiat currency, right? So crypto is a global thing. It's not a MiCA thing. It's not a European thing. It depends on the use case and how it can bring value to the user. So if you're building or using or operating with crypto, be where the action's at. And the good thing about crypto these days, it's not just like Bitcoin or Ethereum anymore. There's different pockets now, and so you can pick and choose where you want to be and what you want to do.
Another question that is a bit of a key point of our conversation. Sometimes crypto comes with, as a bad word, if we want to say like that, kind of approach from people. Do you think more financial institutions or regulators are supposed to clean this name?
We rebranded to Web3 already.
I don't think neither of those, right? It's really educating people about crypto, and there is still a lot of half wisdom or like just wrong facts about crypto out there, and it's on all of us to kind of to change that. And then also, while the market gets more sophisticated, I think this will correct to some extent automatically as well.
Yeah, or I think it will happen over time. Of course, there are sometimes events in the crypto space which everybody wouldn't like to see there. That's not only happening in the crypto space, it's happening in the financial industry, in the stock market, wherever. It's very unfortunate. I think it's up to the Web3 space or the crypto space to keep building, keep growing, and to make it to show that this will become big over time. And I think time will be key. It's not up to the regulators, it's not up to the institutions, it's up to the full space who need to keep building despite what's happening, and together we make it big.
Yeah, well, I think that in crypto there are two parts. The one that has a bad name is the MiCA decentralized tokens like Bitcoin, Ethereum, because they were born completely outside the financial sector and actually thinking that the financial sector was not working properly, and they looked for another solution. So, of course, traditional players, the philosophy behind it goes against intermediaries. So, it makes sense that you don't talk very well about this. But on the contrary, all the part related to securities, digitalization and tokenization of securities, I don't think that there's bad reputation on this, or at least I see in the ESMA, European Commission, in Spain, the Spanish Securities and Exchange Commission, and all supervisors, they are supporting the representation of financial instruments using DLT. So they're pushing for this. So I think what it worries more regulators and also banks and the traditional ecosystems are these assets that they were born completely, outside and well. But I don't know how it. Also, being honest, many things happened. It's true there was no regulation, but there's also a reason for.
Absolutely. Any question from the audience?
I was wondering how you see the impact of the growing awareness for environmental sustainability from people around Europe and the world, and also the regulatory growth in that area affecting crypto and specifically Bitcoin, obviously.
Wants to grab it?
Well, yeah, that's one of the most important amendment to MiCA was introducing, in the debate, this part of sustainability. And actually, I think it was 3 weeks ago, the ESAs published a consultation specifying how you need to inform about ESG implication of the different tokens you trade or you give access to. Here, again, the concern is if Europe is going too far. Sorry, I always talk about Europe because I'm a European Union lawyer and Spanish lawyer, so I cannot give an opinion on what's going on the United States, But I think in Europe, the solution is treated as any other industry. You need to disclose what's the impact, in terms of environmental, social, and governance. And that's the solution that we choose in the European Union. And I think it will work. Well, hopefully it will.
There is already some products, investment products in crypto out there that are CO2 neutral. And I think that's also a topic that is going to be more important in the future. It's already possible to take this into account and to optimize for this for impact and sustainability. It's everywhere, right? At the moment, still the market is that you either buy spot or you buy futures or you buy a product that is usually market cap weighted, so it's mostly Bitcoin and a few others, and this is not going to sustain, right? You need new products, new ideas, new investment forms in crypto so that this becomes a market like the other asset classes as well.
Thanks. Any other question?
Thank you. My first question is about, for you personally as an investor, would you invest your money in security tokens or in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies? And I have another question specifically for Ko and Mark, and it is, are you expecting the Bitcoin halving in 2024, and why that much?
What was your first question?
First question was,
would you invest your money in security tokens or in cryptocurrencies, personally?
Personally, I would always recommend to deviate your investments. Meaning, I would recommend to allocate part of your total assets which you have in cryptos, but only a subset. So the crypto market is quite volatile. I think it's not recommended to put all your money in one basket. So I would always recommend to put part of your funds in cryptos, part of your funds in stocks, part of your funds even keep it in fiat funds. I think that's the best way how you can develop your wealth. And I think if you put everything in one basket, personally I think it becomes too risky. That's not because I don't believe in the sector in general, but this market is volatile. So I would always recommend to diversify it. That's my take.
Yeah, I think my it's similar to mine. It's not financial advice. I think we have our own personal preferences on what we invest in and how we allocate it. So, but I share Mark's thesis of being as diversified as possible and also knowing exactly what you're investing in. So, security token, what is like if don't put everything in one bucket. A security token, or are you talking about stocks or a security token of real estate? Are you talking when you say cryptocurrency, you're talking about Bitcoin, or you're talking about the the next dog coin, frog coin? It's, so very different, right? So I think it's don't put it in one bucket. Study which one is you feel more comfortable about. I think for me at least. And then your second question was about
The halving. I think
halving.
on the halving for next year, I think my personal view is that the crypto market will get more traction during 2024, 2025. I think that will be for a few reasons. So the first thing is, let's say, how is the financial industry doing? So I think during the last 3-4 years, we saw interest rates increasing substantially. I think recently interest rates stabilized and they might even go slightly down. I think once interest rates stabilize or go slightly down, fiat funds become less attractive and people might become more open-minded to acquire more speculative or high-risk investments like crypto assets. So I think that's the first reason why I personally expect that the crypto assets will become more attractive during 2024, 2025. I think on top of that, you will of course have the halving, due to which Bitcoin specific might become more rare. So that's my general view. I'm not sure if it will become that big as it was during 2020, 2021. I know that some other people here in the audience, or maybe as a panel, might have a different view. I think personally that 2020, 2021 was really a perfect storm, where you had COVID, you had very low interest rates, you had a lot of people having spare time. So I'm not yet convinced if it will become a similar kind of hype as it was back in the days. But that's my personal view, and I'm already seeing having people other opinions. So let's discuss that.
I think spare time is a good keyword here. Look, if you ask me personally, probably my exposure to crypto is too high. If you would go after the normal recommendations, but spare time is a good keyword because I used to have a bit more time before I founded my own company, and I was kind of doing crypto trading myself, so I had time to look into what I think is a good token or coin or protocol and buy and sell it. And now I don't have this time anymore. So what I do now is I sold all my crypto holdings and put it in our engine optimized product, just because then I don't have to do anything anymore, and I trust that thing that we're doing, and I can do it professionally. But it's to be on top of what happens on the market is really time consuming. So I would be careful in that space.
Thanks. Are we done with the 1 minute? One more question. Anybody?
Any final questions?
Question?
One last one.
In the metaverse, what Zuckerberg is building and everything about it, with really virtual reality, which Apple is starting to invest in that. You think about this is an opportunity for 2024 or not?
Personally, I think that will take longer. And that's not because I don't think it's a good use case. I think over time, blockchain and cryptos will be used on a way broader scope than we currently can imagine. So I personally believe that Web3 will become big, that you will see all things you just mentioned, but adoption takes time. People already hope that it would become big in 2021, 2022, when the NFTs became big, when the Bored Apes became big, but all those things take time. So from my point of view, I think it will be more a 5-year horizon, where let's say those kind of things will become big somewhere later in 2025 to 2030. But that those things become big, that's in my view quite certain.
Many of these things depend on integration, right? I think that's anyway one of the biggest drivers of the financial industry in the future. If you have open APIs and an open ecosystem, where you can integrate all different kinds of services. And then you can even imagine you go to your own metaverse environment where you feel like you would want to do something on your crypto portfolio right now, and you can do it directly there. And then you have the broker that is, or the exchange that is integrated. You have the AI layer on top that is integrated, and you can do anything everywhere. And I think this is going to be the interesting part of the future of financial services.
Well, I think that it will come, but I think it will take longer than 2024. We'll see things happening this year, but I think it's more on a 5 years time, I would say.
I think it's gonna indirectly actually make things faster, because I met some people who worked on the Libra project of Facebook, and even if the Libra project was a failure, the people that worked on it for those years have been building other things and have learned a lot from that development. So big tech tends to be very influential, obviously, and then when they put resources and create new trends, and the talent that they hire to then learn, it's almost like R&D, research and development. And so whether it fails or not, that particular project, it's going to spur new things within that realm. So it's going to come faster than we think, I think. Maybe not the metaverse of Mark Zuckerberg, but something a lot more will come out of nowhere.
Thanks a lot. Last remark, please feel free to grab one of them or all of them in case you have questions, additional questions or doubts. And thanks a lot. Please an applause for our panelists and enjoy your lunch.
Thank you.
Thanks.